Got it.
Smith 98.1 Lagos, Nigeria. Here we are, and world, here we are. It is the Tech Friday edition of Business Express, brought to you by Smooth 98.1. I'm Sope Martins. I've got Rotus in. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Sope. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Fisayo. Great to be with you all. And thanks, Zeus. It's Friday.
Fisayo Georgia, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Sope. Good morning, Rotus. Good morning, Lakers. Good morning, everyone listening to us, watching.
Yes, watching up on youtube.com/smooth981 FM Lagos. You can go check us out, and you can also join the conversation up on the live chat. You can send WhatsApp messages to 0809-440-981, a number that I know better than my own phone number, apparently. And you can also use Twitter, #BusinessExpress981. No, I actually give this number to somebody as my phone number, so I'm just saying. All right, gents, we've got a lot to cover. Where are we going to start off? Are we moving? What are we doing?
Yeah,
Twitter.
Let's move.
Let's start with Twitter.
Okay, let's do it.
The
vehicle. Yeah,
Rotus, you go. I'll direct. Rotus.
All right. Yeah, the vehicle financing. There's good news. There's bad news. So at least that'll be good news. The vehicle financing firm, Moove, despite news that they were laying off staff, they've actually come through another raise of like $30 million or so. And I wanted to ask Fisayo whether investors like hearing that companies are letting go of staff, because it means they are leaner and there's less costs and stuff like that. Fisayo, what do you make of Moove and this latest raise?
I think from the news I saw, I think it's the fourth or fifth raise this year. That's absolutely insane. When every other company is struggling to raise or to complete a raise. I remember in 2021, TechCrunch is always announcing one capital raise after another. Millions and millions of dollars, from companies just raising big amounts. But this year they've been particularly, less news, capital raising news to report. But of course, in the same year, where there seemed to be winter in the startup financing world, Moove seem to have, figured out a way to continue to raise. They raised 4 times, raising about $180-something million.
$181.8 million.
This year alone. That's
my goodness,
crazy, But to your question, really, the truth is that I've been thinking around startup strategies, around firing of staff or letting go of staff. Because really, if I think about it, what are you solving for? What problem are you solving? Again, anyone that knows how to read financial statements know that your income statement, there is revenue, there is cost of sales, then there's operating expenses, which is where your staff costs lie. So are you solving for profitability? Because some products are even making losses. So for instance, I'll give an example. There's a company called Swivel. I'm using Swivel not because it's a bad company, but because it is publicly listed and I can see their financials, I can discuss their financials in public.
Okay.
They announced that they are cutting staff recently, and I'm surprised because they are making losses from a gross profit perspective, not from operating expenses. They never even made profits from delivering their services in the first place. So that's to figure out. I think the problem they're having is a pricing problem, not a staff problem. But because everyone is firing, they to fire their staff. And I think this doesn't make any sense, because it's like they're selling goods of 100 naira and it costs them to deliver that same good at 120 naira, and you're firing staff. Your number one problem is not staff, because you have to figure out a way to reduce the cost of sales to be lower than your revenues. Then you have a positive gross profit. Then we now look at, okay, what are the operating expenses? What are the biggest costs that you're trying to solve for, right? And then build that out, and then figure out, okay, if I reduce my staff by this, if I reduce my AWS cost by this, if I reduce my rental cost by this, how much would that solve for my profitability? So firing staff is not just one thing I've seen many startups do, but it doesn't make sense to me, because the bigger problems they have, they're not focusing on that, and that's definitely a shame. And then, of course, to answer Rose's particular question, do I think investors like the news about firing staff? I don't think so. But again, do I think that having leaner operations is welcome by investors? Of course, yes, I believe so. So that's what it is. But this funding round has absolutely nothing to do with the news of firing of staff. It's about the strategy, the business, the opportunity that Moove is going after, and of course the funding required to capture that opportunity essentially.
So that's vehicle financing, right? There's a space there. There's space for vehicle financing to grow because it's not something that's popular here. You pay for your cars in cash.
This particular funding round is focused on charging, electric vehicles, right? So that looking to finance EV vehicles, not just in Nigeria, but in Middle East and North Africa. So they're thinking more about the UAE and Egypt and a few other, Northern African and of course Middle Eastern countries, which again is a different market, higher GDP per capita, lower poverty rates, ability to buy. So that there's an opportunity to discuss there. And then that's what, that money is financing. Has absolutely nothing to do with the, workforce reduction.
Okay. And also I'll talk to you about, I guess the bad news now, Cheaper Cash. They are making the news because they are yet another fintech company that has been laying off staff. So, Fisaya, when does this layoffs end? Is this is this a cycle we're going through right now?
I think the bandwagon effect. People are overreacting to the perceived, global downturn in economic downturn. I don't know. Three of us on this call, how many of us have used Cheaper Cash before?
None. Zero. I haven't used it.
Exactly my point. They're a $1 billion company. I don't know anyone that used the product and they're firing staff. Again, my point is that the problem that these guys have is not staff. A lot of them, they don't know the problem they have. I've not used Cheaper Cash before. I don't know if Shopcard used them before. But three of us on this call, if I asked anyone on this call who has used PiggyVest before.
Okay, that's more people.
Exactly my point.
Yeah, exactly my situation.
So which is where we're going to. We've not heard PiggyVest saying that they're firing staff or they're raising or they are even saying they're a $1 billion company. But a lot more people are familiar with the company and use their product a lot more than I've seen anyone mention to me that they've used Cheaper Cash. So the problem that startups are facing is not just about staff firing, because Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, they're firing their staff. It's not an indication that it's a firing season. It's about figuring out, how do I build a product that market will love? How do I build a product that has product market fit? Right? And it's being used. And then, of course, I figure out what that thing is. How do I deliver this product to people at cost so that, profitably for me first, before seeing that my operating expenses are high in the first place. And I think that people need to hire professionals, CFOs, that help understand where the cost issue is. Maybe it's a pricing problem. You're not charging enough, because Cheaper Cash says that they're delivering these things for free, that they're helping you transfer money for free. Again, that's the problem on its own. How can you be helping me transfer money for free? How do you make money? You're firing staff. You're making zero revenue. It doesn't make any sense. So we need to figure out, how do I, deliver my product profitably first, that have positive gross margin. And then from there, I can now say that, okay, I'm going to solve for operating expenses. I'm going to solve for rent. I'm going to solve for staff cost. I'm going to solve for many other things that are secondary to the real original problem. And I think that that's where, many startups should focus their attention on, and not just fire because everyone else is firing.
But how much differentiation is there from Cheaper Cash to any other fintech that is transferring money? And the only reason I'm even familiar with Cheaper Cash because of the Burner Boy billboards. That's how I even got to know them, and that must have cost a lot of money for him because he's their ambassador. He's in all of their ads. So how maybe they have to do it for free for now to get familiar and then introduce fees later.
You see, that's the problem. I'd rather them say that, well, guys, the amount of money I'm paying Burna Boy, I'd rather use that, to ensure that my product is delivered, to the people first. Because I've seen Burna Boy and many of that, it has not encouraged me in any way to use the product. I don't even know what the product, I don't know what the use case
particularly is. Can I just say
is.
something? I feel like the free to fee model, I haven't seen it really work. Has it worked anywhere that I don't know of? Because I know once you give me something for free, I ain't gonna pay for it. I mean, is it just me?
No, it's not. So people will always looking for the free thing. Again, I looked at, back in the days when I used to do some Google Analytics, I see that, for instance, during the days of Konga and Jumia, where e-commerce, you see spikes on Valentine's Day, you see spikes on Black Friday, but on every other day of the year, zero, nothing. Nothing happens on those platforms except for people that are coming to take deals on Valentine's Day, or take deals on Black Friday, or take deals on New Year's Day. And that's what people are used to. If you give something for people for free, they're always looking for opportunity, always get it for free. And people should be, if you're delivering a product and your product is of any value, people should pay for it. If you are using payment infrastructure, PayStack, you're paying for it. You're using Florida, you're paying for it. If you're using the bank, if you're transferring money from the bank, you're paying for it. So people are willing to pay for stuff that they do. So the idea is not just firing stuff because you can. You have to figure out, is this product valuable enough for anyone in the world to want to pay for it? If your answer is no, you don't have a product. You have nothing to use. And of course, if you're not paying for it, like for instance, Facebook and Instagram and all of that, we're not paying for it. But again, they are monetizing you because they're selling ad to you based on those behaviors. Again, that's you paying for it in kind. Mm-hmm. So you have to figure out a way that these things work and you make money first, and then you figure out a way to then, deal with operating expenses later.
All right, so Fisaya Rotus, let's get into the messages to end the show. So I'll take this first one in from Frank, who says, from Fisaya's analogy, the companies might as well claim that they are firing inefficient staff. Staff also have an influence on cost of sales composition. As a matter of fact, staff influences everything in the income statement and drives the balance sheet. If they're efficient enough, they could have grown revenue to compensate for the cost they're incurring in the production process. Now, this next one comes in from...
I'll respond later.
No, we don't have time. This one comes in from Deji, who says, I am a victim of firing to save costs. Whilst,
no.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Whilst Yinka Bolu says, Fisaya is right. I feel most startups are not grounded enough to float a company. I even feel all the cash injections they get in the form series A, B, C, or Z funding are just unnecessary and unmonitored. You hear of a startup getting $1 million in funding, and I'm like, what exactly are they offering? I don't even know you. And I'll take this final one from Emeka, who says, I think Chipper is rendering poor. No, okay, moving on. He's just commenting on that provider, and I can't read that, Emmanuel. I'll move on to the next message. And Tom says they should use target costing. Whilst this is the final one, I'm not reading any more messages. Michael from Marina says, firing isn't the issue. You can't know if it makes sense until you see their books. You need an insider's perspective here. All right.
Right.
We've come to the end of the show. Yeah, but the conversation can continue with Fisaya because his face says he wants to say so much more. Say it on Twitter, Fisaya, at @Aramo_Fisaya, at @Aramo_Fisaya. Wait, there's an underscore, right?
There's no underscore. At
Aramo Fisaya. Sorry, no underscore. At Aramo Fisaya. Rotus, I know you own at Rotan Codes. Thank you. All the people that put underscores are the people that make me confused when I'm saying Twitter handles. All right, thank you very much. Fisaya has no underscore in his handle. All right, at Rotancode, at Aramo Fisaya. I shall see you next Friday for another Tech Friday edition of